Tristan Kumar's Dying Planet. Narrated by Tristan Kumar. Part 7. Rusted Satellite. I jerked awake in the cockpit. I had dozed off for so long that we were only 10 minutes away from the International Space Station now. I looked at my hand and it was solid again. I rested my head back, tired of all of this. But suddenly, someone ran into the room. It was Shock. He came in and yelled, "We found someone! Someone other than us on the ship!" I sat up. I knew who this probably was, but I acted surprised anyway. "Come on!" he said as they ran out. I got up quickly and ran to the back of the ship to the engine room. Inside, everyone was gathered around the same girl, Sylvie. I squinted at her, and she smiled back. "Who are you?" Electos asked. "I'm Sylvie," she answered, feeling very optimistic. "How'd you get on this ship?" someone asked. "Well, I snuck on. I didn't want to be with the idiots that stayed on Earth." "Huh. Guys, come here," Sky said, as she turned around and we all gathered in a circle. "What should we do with her?" Knight said. "That's what I was going to ask you guys," Sky said. "Do we let her live?" Electos asked. "Yes, we're not murderers, man," Shock said. I sat there and watched the drama until someone said my name. "Rai? What should we do?" "Oh, I stuttered. "Well, we don't even know who she really is, or what she has up her sleeves, so we should keep her alive and, keep watch to see if she doesn't escape, right?" I said. They all nodded in approval, and then I said I'd go first, watching her. They nodded and left us in the room. "Well played," Sylvie said. "Thanks. I've never been a social guy," I said as I sat down next to her. "So, you're Rai?" she asked. "No. Well, yes. After Earth, blew up," I said. "We all decided that we wanted to, make a new beginning for ourselves. So we changed our names, and I'm Rai." "Cool. My name was always Sylvie. I was born with it on Earth," she said. "That's nice too," I said. We sat awkwardly next to each other for the next few minutes until we started another conversation. I didn't sneak on the ship," she said. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Well, when I was 8, my parents divorced, and I guess no one wanted me in the family, so I was homeless. But one day, while looking at the night sky, I saw a rocket take off from Cape Canaveral in Florida, where I lived. I was amazed by it because it looked like magic. After that, I made the treacherous journey across the states to NORAD in Colorado Springs and found a place to stay with some very nice people here. There, I started to learn more and more about astrology and stuff like that. Eventually, the people I was living with decided to be nice to me, and on my 12th birthday, took me out into the city for the first time. It was even more beautiful than I expected it to be at night. It was the most perfect evening. But when we were walking back to our place, something went wrong. Outside our place, many bad people were robbing someone's house. They saw us and started toward us. They told me to run, and as I did, I heard yelling and more yelling. Eventually, far down the streets, I heard 2 gunshots and footsteps running away. I decided to be brave and turned around and ran back in anger. After all this time, they couldn't just take them away from me. I ran and found the bad men getting inside a truck. I jumped on the back and it sped off. I held on for dear life as the truck drove up the mountain and arrived at the gates of NORAD. I was all alone once again, but I wasn't letting go. Once they got in, they all got out of the truck. I jumped off and ran to hide and watch. First of all, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was in NORAD itself, the place where I wanted to go since my parents, Anyway, I watched as the leader of the gang walked up to a man in a suit. He said something about a mission and that a doctor had been taken care of. He put his hand out, and the man in the suit gave him a bag. I got out of my hiding spot and went to the other side of the truck. In revenge, I grabbed a screwdriver from a nearby table and popped their tires. I then ran inside quickly to the main area and heard yelling from where I came from. I saw them come inside, and they were looking for the odd one out. Me. They ran after me, and I hid inside someone's office. It said Jones on the front door. President Jones, I realized. Exactly. He came in from the other room, supposedly expecting the person who gave the money, but he saw me instead. He was confused. But then there was a banging at the door. He signaled for me to hide behind the desk, and he opened the door. The gang was there, and they'd asked if they had seen me. He thought about it, and then he said no. I was shocked as the bad man left to continue looking. He helped me up once they were gone, and raised me and taught me about the stars for the next 2 years, until one day when a school bombing turned out to cause the end of the world. I was in that school, along with everyone else here on the ship, I said. Wow, that's such a coincidence, she laughed. Anyway, he said that he wouldn't be able to see me anymore after this problem was way too dangerous and real. He gave me some money to go buy stuff and to wait for him on the spaceship they were making. He said the code was Godspeed, and I nodded. I never saw him again. Anyway, I ran to the store and got the stuff I needed. Then a rumbling sound in the sky sounded above me. I ran out of the store after getting everything and saw the sun explode. It was terrifying but beautiful. Everyone started to panic, and I quickly ran back to NORAD through the mess of the crowds. I got on the spaceship and waited for Jones. Then I heard some people come in. I thought it was him, but he wasn't there. We took off, and I knew that he wasn't there with us. After that, I heard some strange roaring in the main engine. When we were propelling through space, I heard the noise from the engine again. I decided to go and check it out. I looked in the watery engine and saw something. Well, there was something in the water that was like slimy. Its hand started to raise. It was scaly and gooey. I ran back and found a gun on the table, ran up and shot it. I was scared. I didn't want it to hurt me or anybody else on the ship. I fell back, and when I looked back the next time, I saw that the hand had gone back down. For the next few hours, I did the same thing, but I realized that someone, you, was following me. I eventually got caught by the others, and here I am, she finished. So you're essentially saying that you met the president, and he granted you access to leaving Earth? I said. Yeah, basically. He also said that I would be the engineer and maintainer of the ship, because he knew that none of you kids would know how to. We both laughed. Someone came in and said, Rai, we need you. It felt dark and gloomy. I nodded and stood up. Don't miss me for too long, I said to Sylvie. Oh, I won't, Mr. Rai, she smiled as I left. I went to the cockpit and everyone looked at me. How's Sylvie? One of them asked. She's fine, I replied. Come look at this, another said. I came up and looked out the cockpit window. I looked around, but then I looked up. All I have to say is that things went from bad to worse, because there was the International Space Station, but it was damaged and completely abandoned and run down. It still looked functional, but barely holding itself together. There would be no survivors from an impact like this, Electos said, as I looked in awe and disbelief. We docked with it eventually, following the instructions that were given to us, and all got out into the station. There was still oxygen, luckily, so no leaks. I ran back inside the Thanatos and grabbed Sylvie. She looked around in shock as well. She walked around the main bay. This was expanded. The ISS can now fit around 100 people. Over the years since they first launched it in 1998, it could fit 7, but now they've advanced for more further travel, Sylvie said. When did she come to know this? Sky asked. I like space, Sylvie replied. Okay, then. Okay, so now what do we do? Shock asked us all angrily and upset. This was our only shot at what? What are we supposed to do here? Surviving? That was it? What do we do? Hey, calm down. We'll figure something out, Knight said. How can I calm down? We're dead out here. We're not gonna die. We're just gonna survive for a shortened amount of time when we were supposed to, Sylvie said. Oh, shut up. Hey, Electos got into this too. Stop arguing. This is going to solve our dead problem, Shock bickered. It's not gonna solve anything, idiots. Think about it first. I said a shortened amount of time. At least we're going to live for some time. And at least I know it's something around here other than you idiots, Sylvie said. After that comment, it set everyone off in an argument. Sylvie was arguing with Shock, while everyone else was arguing with each other or telling them to stop. It was controlled chaos, but honestly not controlled at all. Meanwhile, I sat there looking back at the Thanatos, hopeless and distant. And out of the entrance, I saw a red, gooey tentacle reach around the corner. I tilted my head and gasped. It looked like things were about to get bloody. This episode was recorded by Tristan Kumar. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to watch the next one, and I'll thank you for listening.